Emperor Valerian, Rome's humiliation by Persia. Imagine the most powerful man in the world, a Roman emperor, kneeling in chains before his enemy. Not just defeated, but humiliated. Every time the Persian king mounted his horse, he stepped on the emperor's back, using him like a human footstool. And when the emperor finally died, his broken body was stuffed with straw and displayed like a grotesque trophy. This is not legend. This is history. The story of Emperor Valerian, the only Roman emperor ever captured alive, and the man who suffered the greatest humiliation in the empire's long history. The year was 253 AD. Rome was crumbling. The empire faced invasions on every border, Goths in the north, Persians in the east, rebellions at home. This period was known as the crisis of the 3rd century. Emperors rose and fell in quick succession, often murdered by their own soldiers. Then came Publius Licinius Valerianus, Valerian, a seasoned senator and general, chosen by the army to bring order out of chaos. He was tough, disciplined, and determined to restore Rome's greatness. But fate had something darker in store. To the east, a new empire was rising, the Sasanian Persians, led by the brilliant and ruthless king Shapur I. Unlike the old Parthians, the Sasanians were organized, aggressive, and eager to challenge Rome's supremacy. They swept into Roman lands, sacking cities, even threatening Antioch, one of Rome's jewels. Valerian marched east to confront them, leading a massive army. For Rome, this was more than war, it was survival. At first, Valerian's campaigns found success. He pushed back Persian forces, stabilized provinces, and gave Rome hope that the empire could endure. But as the war dragged on, something deadlier than swords and arrows spread among his men: plague. Disease ravaged the Roman ranks, weakening the once mighty legions. Valerian's army, already far from home, was now vulnerable. In 260 AD, near the city of Edessa, modern-day Turkey, Valerian faced Shapur in a decisive battle. But the Romans, weakened by plague, were overwhelmed. The legions collapsed, Roman morale shattered, and chaos spread across the field. Valerian, the emperor of Rome, was surrounded. Unlike his predecessors, who fought to the death, Valerian was taken alive. The unthinkable had happened. The master of Rome was now the prisoner of Persia. For Shapur, this was more than victory. It was a chance to humiliate the Roman Empire itself. According to ancient sources, Valerian was kept in chains, paraded like a slave. Whenever Shapur mounted his horse, he ordered Valerian to kneel. The mighty emperor became a living footstool. Roman pride, Roman dignity, crushed beneath the boots of Persia. Some sources claim Shapur used Valerian as a bargaining chip, forcing Rome to cede lands and pay ransom. But no rescue ever came. The empire watched helplessly as its ruler languished in captivity. After years of humiliation, Valerian finally died in captivity. But even in death, Shapur denied him dignity. Instead of burial, Valerian's body was flayed, stripped of skin, stuffed with straw, and preserved like a grotesque statue. Displayed in a Persian temple, he stood as a permanent reminder: Rome could bleed, and Rome could be broken. Back in Rome, the news was devastating. Never before had a Roman emperor been captured alive. Never before had the world seen Rome's leader paraded as a slave. For centuries, Rome had been invincible. But Valerian's fate was proof: the empire was not eternal. His son, Gallienus, became emperor in his place, but the empire's crisis deepened. The capture of Valerian was not just a personal tragedy, it was a symbol of Rome's decline. Historians debate the details. Some say Persian accounts exaggerated the cruelty, portraying Valerian's humiliation to magnify Shapur's glory. Others argue that Roman writers twisted the story, turning Valerian's suffering into a cautionary tale about pride and weakness. But the core truth remains: Valerian never returned. His capture remains one of the darkest stains on Roman history, a story whispered by generals to warn of failure, and remembered by Persians as their greatest triumph. Valerian's downfall is more than history, it is a story of hubris and fate. He rose to save Rome, but instead became the very symbol of its fragility. From the Senate to the streets, his name carried a bitter lesson: even emperors can fall, even Rome can kneel. The story of Emperor Valerian is one of pride, power, and ultimate humiliation. A man who held the fate of Rome in his hands, reduced to a human footstool. And in death, denied even the honor of a grave. History is filled with emperors who conquered, but Valerian is remembered as the emperor who was conquered. This is Story District. For more haunting tales of power, betrayal, and forgotten emperors, subscribe now, because history is never just the past, it is the greatest story ever told.